Today's episode, we talked to Jenny from the blockchain about all things NFTs.
She's high energy. She's a lot of fun. She's involved full-time in the NFT space. She's a holder, NFT podcast host. She works at a company as the head of marketing for NFTs, and she's going to be hosting a panel at VCon this May. We think she's about to blow up in the NFT space in a really big way.
Yeah, and she gave some great tips and tricks on deciding on what great NFT projects you want to get into, as well as her top 5 to hold for the rest of the year. So I know which projects I'll be investing in now.
To you viewers, do your own research, right?
This is not financial advice by any means. All right, well, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it.
The way we live, work, and consume will massively transform soon. It's time to challenge
perception,
workplace,
finance, citizenship,
lifestyle,
surrounding.
This is 2020 Theory.
Welcome to 2020 Theory Podcast with Maverick and Moose. There are no destinations, only journeys. And today's journey brings us to none other than Jenny from the blockchain. Jenny, thanks so much for being here today.
Yo, thank you so much for having me on the show.
I'm excited. We are pumped. So Jenny is the head of marketing at Evaluate Market. She's a co-host of the NFT Catcher podcast, which is a badass podcast. Top Shot OG, NFT collector, content creator, VCon panel host. And if you want to know anything about her Twitter handle, Jennifer @Jennifer_Sutto. And we'll post that as well at the end. And we'll talk about it again at the end of the podcast. So Jenny, I first came across your profile on Twitter, probably after you put out like a wise tweet about an NFT project that I made money on. And I thought, I should look into this girl and see what else she's got cooking. And then I realized you're the host of the NFT Catcher podcast, which provides insight, news, and opinions on pretty much anything and everything that's relevant in the NFT space. And so I thought there's nobody better to interview about all things NFTs, and you were gracious enough to accept. So thank you so much, Jenny, for being here today.
Thank you for that introduction. Yes, thanks for having me on your show.
Cool. All right, so Derek has a question he's been dying to ask you, so I'm going to just turn it over to Derek to get started.
Well, I got several, but yeah. First off, thanks. Love your energy. I wish I could.
I know.
I need to.
You guys have good energy too. I can feel the vibes.
I don't know. Gary Vee's not going to call me anytime soon. Post though, so. But yeah, thanks. And I actually want to know a little bit about, real quick, your role at evaluate.market. It's such an awesome platform. How do you score that job, and what's, or not how you score it, but what do you do there?
No, yeah, that's funny how you're like, how did you get that job? I think that in the beginning, no, it's a good question, because for Web3, it's like really just being involved in the space. All of a sudden, you're putting yourself out there and opportunities just start coming to you. And I had, like you said, Top Shot OG, joined Top Shot pretty early when they just had a couple thousand users, first opened their public beta, October 2020. And shortly after, a couple months later, I started making YouTube videos, Jennifer Top Shot. And kind of I was the first Top Shot content creator to show my face, making videos and stuff. And I kind of I gained 1,000 subscribers in a week or something. And plus it's I look different. I have purple hair and stuff, so that probably helped. But yeah, and then so they saw my videos and they had just, kind of started the website and, started building the company, and they're like, hey, do you want to come join us? And I was their first hire and first full-time hire. Now we have 9 people working at Evaluate Market. But yeah, I started out just running the socials, and then I was like, can you guys give me a marketing budget? I want to start working with some content creators, and, maybe we can get some sponsored deals going here. So I kind of focus on managing other content creators and freelance writers and things like that. And then now we have community manager that I manage as well. And just, it's been a lot of fun. They're super chill and super cool. So love working at Evaluate Market. Yeah, we you can analyze your NBA Top Shot portfolio value as well as other NFT projects we support.
Very cool. Are you a huge basketball fanatic? Is that why you got into
You know what?
that
I'm not a huge basketball fanatic, but it was because I got into crypto in 2017, and I just really was enveloped in the space, and I was just trying to learn as much as I could. And so then when I saw this opportunity of NBA Top Shot, I was like, oh my God, this is going to introduce the blockchain to millions of people, like, you know, I need to jump on this opportunity early. And I just started, you know, buying a bunch of stuff. So yeah.
So really to kick things off with the podcast, I want to find out your definition. What is the blockchain? And I think one thing a lot of people get confused is it a chain of information, or is it multiple chains? Or if you can give a quick definition of what is the blockchain?
Yeah, I mean, I think the simplest way, what I like to think about, because it's like, well, what is the internet? It's like, do people know how the internet works? Not really. They just know what the internet means to them. You know, when people think of the internet, they think of, you know, oh, Google, I can search things. They think of, you know, Facebook, I can post things with my friends. I mean, nobody really uses Facebook anymore, but just an example. So I think
I told you, Derek. I told you.
Oh my God, no, I'm sorry to anybody who uses Facebook. That was not a roast, okay? Yeah, I think of the blockchain as like an upgraded version of the internet, like basically a permanent version of the internet, a more secure and transparent version of the internet. And yeah, like you could think about it, how it's like, oh, these transactions are, you know, being put into these little blocks and then, you know, waiting, and then the next one comes along. It's like this whole process thing, but it's like, do you really need to know that? Like, probably not. You know, I mean, I just like to think about the blockchain as like the upgraded version of the internet, which is why I think people call it Web 3.0 as well. So
yeah, I think that's a really good way to explain it, especially to people that are just coming to it. It's so technical, and you know, I think it's so easy to confuse someone. And then when someone's confused, they're like, "Forget this Ponzi scam," like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I love that definition. Yeah, keep it simple. So Jen, how do you explain NFTs to your mom?
To my mom, actually, yeah. Okay, so my mom, I mean, she knows what crypto is, so it's like, you know, okay, you got to kind of figure out, well, what do people know already? You know, and it was like I was explaining to my aunt NFTs, and she's like, every time I would say something, she'd be like, what does that word mean? What does that word mean? And it's like, dang, like, you know, there really is a lot of terminology here that, you know, I take for granted knowing. But yeah, it's like NFT obviously stands for non-fungible token, you know, meaning that it's like a unique digital asset. And they're basically tokens being represented by, you know, maybe piece of art. Like, for example, in the background, it's like, these are NFTs. I mean, the physical version, but and yeah, and then right now, I think NFTs are mostly really, a lot of people think of NFTs as just JPEGs or art, or, you know, maybe being part of a community as well. They'll think of it as, but I think in the future, it's just, I don't think it's going to be like, oh, it's an NFT. It's like, it's going to just be like, it can be a digital collectible, but it could also just be, maybe you just want something to be permanent, you know, and maybe you just don't, like, I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, you know, all my photos, you know, I don't back my stuff up to iCloud. So the other day I literally like, I dropped my phone and it broke, and then they had a factory reset it, and I lost everything. I had like thousands of videos and photos, and I didn't back it up. So all of it was gone. Yeah. And it was like, well, that'd be cool if they're on the blockchain, you know, and maybe it doesn't have to be, you know, it doesn't have to be monetarily super valuable. It's just like, well, these are just my photos. I just want to store them somewhere.
Right.
Obviously I should probably upload to iCloud, but it's like, you know, just having things be permanent is kind of, is just kind of cool, you know, cool concept.
Right. And you can prove ownership, I guess. I think I saw Gary Vee kind of talking about this a little bit. It's like, you can go stand in front of a car and take a picture. It doesn't make it yours.
Right.
You know? So I thought that was kind of an interesting way to spin it. That's cool. Yeah. And is your mom into NFTs now?
Oh yeah. Sorry. Back to my mom. Yeah. So my mom, I had gotten her into Top Shot. She has a Top Shot account. She's bought some moments. I've obviously sent her moments, you know, and
that's cool.
And then, I had her set up a MetaMask wallet, but you know, I have NFTs that I'm holding for her. I just like, you know, want to make sure everything's super secure before I hand them over to her, and send them to her. But I'm kind of holding them in my account. But yeah, I have like, so I have some NFTs for her that are hers.
More that are like, very kind and generous of you to take care of your mom.
Yeah, of course. My mom is like, if I tweeted the other day, I was like, what good is money if you can't spend it on your mom? You know, I'm like,
hey, I like that.
Yeah,
You
I
should,
love my
that's,
mom. She deserves.
that's going to be the Jenny from the blockchain quote for us at the end of the show.
Oh, there we
Yeah.
go. Yeah, yeah, giving back, like, to people that have helped you in your journey, especially if it's like your mom. It's like she birthed me, obviously. And I like owning things online, on chain, I guess I could say on chain. But I also like, it's like I flew my mom out this past weekend and we hung out and we got to do things. And it's like, I think that's really cool part of having money, just being able to do things. But otherwise I just kind of live a humble life and I just have all these, valuable JPEGs for no reason. I don't know why, just because it's fun. Like
that's next. That's going to be the next millionaire, billionaire. Like those are it's going to be digital assets.
But yeah, and it's a way to flex as well. Like you're talking about, oh, you could take a picture in front of a car, and it's like, okay, if I were to have a Lamborghini, how many people could see that I have a Lamborghini? How many people would know that, oh, Jennifer or Jenny from the blockchain, she has a Lamborghini? Well, only if I'm like, I have to really try to get my, tell people, oh, look, I have this Lamborghini. This is my Lamborghini. Like, but it's like with an NFT, you can just see, proof of digital ownership, right? Like everything's transparent on the blockchain and you can see who owns what, and you can stalk people's wallets and you can see what people have. And, it's like, and now through Twitter, you can like verify your NFTs if you want, and you can have a hexagon profile picture.
Is that live yet?
Yeah, that is. I don't do that, but a lot of my friends, they have their hexagon profile pictures.
Oh, I didn't realize. So NFTs are now verifiable on Twitter.
Yeah, you can verify. Yeah, you like have to like connect your wallet, and then it'll be like, oh yeah, verifying that this is yours. Because there are also a lot of, because it's so early and because it's so lucrative right now in the NFT space, a lot of scammers and a lot of people trying to take advantage of other people. And so, yeah, it's kind of dangerous out there as well. Like, it's definitely not like a safe, it's not super comfortable. Like everybody shouldn't just put a bunch of money into NFTs. It's like, you kind of have to learn a lot before, because you don't want to end up losing all your assets. Like that really sucks. You can't just be like, oh, somebody stole my JPEG. Like, can I get my money back? Like that doesn't, it's like, you're your own banker, you're like removing the middleman. So yeah,
there's a lot of, there's a lot of infrastructure, a lot of innovation, just the more, it'll become more mainstream, I think. And there's going to be, the barrier to entry is going to be reduced, right? People, like are afraid of like, what the hell is a MetaMask and, all that. So I agree. I think it's still early, but there are, these people who are crypto rich, and the money that some of these people are making is unprecedented right now. So could you talk a little bit real quick about pros and cons other than win Lambo?
Pros and cons of having NFTs?
Yeah, just in our world today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, pros is, there's kind of never been an easier way to like gain wealth so quickly. I think, like, I don't know what else can you buy. I mean, if you think of the Bored Apes, it's like you could have minted one for 0.08 and now the floor is like 100 ETH, like that's insane, right? So it's like, it's a really amazing opportunity and crazy time right now, to where you can really get lucky, if you want to call it luck or whatever, but just even being in the space, and even if you're not buying stuff, like even learning right now is like, you have a huge advantage over most people, because a lot of the people that aren't into NFTs but they've heard about them, they either don't care or they are against NFTs, and they're like, no, they're bad for the environment and blah blah blah, and they'll just like say whatever. But they didn't really take the time. They don't really want to take the time to look into them further. Right. So there's not the best like perception about NFTs from like the general public, but within the community of all the people that are into NFTs and crypto, people love NFTs. Like it's one of those things you either love or you hate them, I guess. Right. Yeah. And so, Cons, like I said, getting scammed. That's a huge thing. There was just a whole, was it a 5 million? It was like $1 to $5 million like scam from this guy that had been into crypto for the last like 5 years. And it was like, he was a knowledgeable dude, but it was actually a targeted attack. Like they hacked his like laptop and everything, I think.
Wow. And he lost it all?
But yeah, well, not everything. I'm sure he had other wallets. I mean, usually people do more than one wallet, but if you just have one wallet and then your wallet gets compromised and then people sell all your stuff, like it's like, well, what are you gonna do now? Like that's
game over.
Game over. I mean, you can start fresh and try to rebuild, but it's just like it really sucks.
So what do you look for when you're picking an NFT project to invest in? What do you look for?
So it kind of depends. If I'm trying to support a friend, then it's like, oh, it's just my friend and I'm trying to support, so I'll just mint their project. And I'm not really too critical, but if it's like I'm thinking about, oh, let me think about getting into something that I think has potential in the long term. Usually I'm more of a long-term player. Like I'm not really a good trader. So I usually like to buy things to where I will feel comfortable holding on to them. And ideally it's like, I'm just buying this because I want this NFT and I want to be a part of the community and I want the benefits that come with it, but I'm not really thinking about selling it. Like, cause if I buy this to think about selling, then things don't usually work out for me that way. I actually just bought a freaking goop for 0.2 and now the floor is half that. And I'm like, damn it. And I literally bought it because I was like, oh, I bet the floor will go up. And I didn't even do any research. I wasn't buying for the long haul. And so every time I just try to buy to flip, it doesn't work out. And it's like, I know that, okay, my strength is hodling. Why do I try to, why do I even bother?
Jenny, it's just really cool that you even share that, because I think a lot of people come into the space and they'll see influencers and people who are, with intimate knowledge and man, I can never be as successful. But even you, who obviously you're well connected, this is where you spend most of your time, and it can still happen to you where you can pick a project and not necessarily have it turn out the way that you anticipated.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, now I'm down, now the floor price, if I were to sell right now, it's half the price, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm not just going to sell it because, it went down. What if it goes down lower? Whatever. I'm just going to keep it. And I'm going to hope that it goes up. And if it, doubles or whatever, then maybe I'll sell it. Or maybe I just decide I want to hold on.
Just hold it.
Yeah. Cause I kind of like just holding things, to be honest. And that has panned out well for me. With my doodle, I actually traded with one of the co-founders, Poopy, when they were valued at 1 ETH. And I traded him a couple of my NFTs for a purple haired doodle, and I've just been holding on ever since. And the floor is crazy, 13 ETH or something. Yeah. But I'm I want this. This is my forever doodle, and
yeah. Is that your pride and joy? Is that your top NFT?
Yeah, that's my my single most valuable NFT. Where it's just that one. That's the most valuable. Yeah,
it's beautiful.
So it's pretty cool. But yeah, a lot of the times I'll miss as well. I'll buy stuff and then it's just oh, I'm down on it or whatever. It's obviously not everything is going to go well, but that's expected. You're not going to, every single thing you buy isn't going to go up. And I think patience is huge as well. When I bought my first Ethereum based NFT, that wasn't CryptoKitties, because CryptoKitties is ETH too. I literally was I had the flipping mindset. I was okay, I'm going to buy this and then I'm going to flip it. And then literally the project took months to sell out, no joke. And it was Voxy's, by the way, which is now an established project. But at the time I minted for 0.08 and they did this whole FOMO ramp thing. And I was oh yeah, I'll just and then it took forever. And I was oh my God. And I was panicking and I was ugh. And I bought 4 of them and I didn't have much ETH. So I was just damn, my ETH is tied up,
Yeah.
And then finally, eventually, months later, I sold it for a profit. And I was thank God. But it was I had to practice patience. And it's there's a lot of lessons that you can learn in the space just by buying and selling or buying and holding. And, it's pretty fun, but it's also cool. It's a lot of lessons for sure.
So some of these, they nail it with the community. Bored Ape Yacht Club is, the go-to, for killing it with their community. Doodle, so What do you think is the success metric when it comes to building a community?
I think really you just want people that are super passionate and that want to share their passion. Obviously, you don't want people that are just like, I'm just buying this to hold it. I'm never going to talk about it or anything like that. And, or I'm never going to communicate with anybody. Like, you want people that are super passionate. They're wanting to tell everybody about their NFT, and, they want to do things for the community. Something that comes to mind, there's this guy, I forget his username, it's like Hiking Viking or something. And he has a couple hoodlums, and he's not even a part of the project, but he takes it upon himself to host these hoodlum spaces like every week, just like hanging with hoodlums. And it's like, you want the community
cool.
you want people to be super passionate to where they're just like, I just want to talk about, the project I'm invested in, super often. I want to tell everybody about it. So you want those passionate people. And then of course, if people have larger followings and they can reach more people, like, that's ideal as well. Like, if you can, if some NFT influencers have your NFTs, like, that's great. I'm a fan of people making like honoraries and stuff. I think that's kind of a nice way to
pay some homage, get some attention.
Yeah, and it could always be like a separate collection, but yeah, ideally it's like people organically are buying your NFTs, and people that have an audience,
right?
So that they can spread the word as well.
Yeah, like when I think of Bored Ape Yacht Club, it's like light. It's not even like, it's life-changing money. It's lottery money.
Mm-hmm.
And to have 10,000 people hold their Bored Ape Yacht Clubs and not sell it, and just maintain 100 ETH floor, it blows my mind. Like, it really blows my mind, because, $300,000, I guess, give or take, would change anyone's life on balance. And so, how do you convince 10,000 people not to cash in on a lottery ticket?
Well, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of buying and selling that's happening. I know some people that are still holding on to the apes that they minted, but most of the ape holders, they have bought at various different prices, right? Obviously it's like, the secondary market, that's up to the buyers and sellers. The people are the ones controlling the price, based on how much they value their NFT at. But yeah, I think there are very few people that have still held on. One of my friends, Swicky, I had her on the podcast. She, her ape, Kiki, she had bought for like, I want to say 1 ETH or maybe less. I kind of forget the exact amount. And it's like, she's been holding on this whole time. And, that takes a lot of conviction, but also when you kind of decide that you're going to hold on to something, then it's a lot easier than if you're constantly trying to figure out if, should I buy, should I sell? Oh my God, this is the price. If you already like decide that you're like, okay, this is my forever NFT, or I'm choosing to hold this thing forever, then that's what you're choosing to do. Yeah, of course, a lot of people, decided to cash out along the way and sell. And we see a lot of celebrities buying in at these prices, or, super rich people buying in at these prices. Most people aren't buying the apes at 100 ETH. Yeah, what, $300,000? It's like, that's a lot of money unless you have that much already. But there are some people that have been holding on that don't have that kind of money, and that would be life-changing, but they're just they just love having the JPEG more than having like, that money in the real world, which it's like, well, what would they do with the money? I guess they could buy a house, but maybe they don't want to, like,
So follow-up question. So say you had 300,000 to invest, just cash right now. Would you convert it to ETH and get like one blue chip NFT, or would you get multiple? What do you think you would do?
I would diversify, because you kind of don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, especially when it comes to NFTs, because things will kind of, like, the market as a whole, it kind of moves as a whole, but also it doesn't. There will be projects that pump here and there while others are down, and you don't want to be focused solely on one project, especially if things start going badly, and then you're like, no, and then it's like, well, that's the only project that you're invested in. Then it's like, but if, for example, my Goop, it's like, I'm down 50%, right? But it's like, okay, well, I have all these other NFTs, and so I just don't focus on that one. But if that was my only NFT, I would be like, damn it. And I'm constantly thinking about it. And so I would diversify for sure. I would definitely invest in like, I would try to spread it out. And I would try to have,
money.
huh?
You can still get some pretty big, diverse blue chip folder
Oh yeah,
as well.
you can get. I mean, a mutant is going for what, 21 ETH or something right now. So if you want to buy into the Bored Ape or even a kennel dog,
Yeah.
those are probably maybe a little less than 10 right now.
Mhm.
You know, if you want to be a part of the Bored Ape community, yeah, just buy into that. You could even just buy the ape token. I don't know, but yeah, I would maybe just get a mutant, and then I would get like a doodle and like a cool cat. And I mean, I'm biased. I have a cool cat and a doodle. But then I'd also try to spread it out amongst other projects as well. And even the smaller ones that are like, I mean, my favorite project right now, the floor is like 0.1, and it's non-fungible fungi. And I have like 16 of those that I've been accumulating slowly over the last couple months. Maybe the last like 2 months or something. I've been slowly building up. And yeah, I just really like that project. And but yeah, you know, sometimes you just buy the things you like, and it's like, if it goes up in value, great. If it doesn't, that's fine as well. Like, you're buying because you actually want to be a part of the community, and you want, you know, whatever the benefits are of holding that NFT.
So if there was a project that got rug pulled, or it was a scam project, you know, if you get robbed in real life, you go to the cops. What is there any governing body? Is there any place you can go in that situation?
So yeah, so if you were to like, you know, maybe I clicked on a phishing link and I connect my wallet and I approved a transaction, and I just, you know, people just blindly sign things and they don't read what it's for.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, if I were to do that, and then all of a sudden, you know, all of a sudden my doodle gets transferred out of my wallet. I mean, really the best thing you could do, because no, you can't just be like, hey, like, you know, can somebody help me? Like,
Right. 911.
Yeah, I think the best thing you could do is allow yourself to be vulnerable in the way that you are opening up to the community and saying like, hey guys, like, I really messed up. I, you know, signed this thing and they took my doodle, you know, you know, I don't know, I'm pretty sad about it. Like, I don't have any other money, like, just being honest.
Right.
And then, you know, and being like, if anybody wants to donate any type of, you know, NFT to me, like, could even be worthless, like, people would probably send you some stuff. Like, people have a lot of trash they'd be willing to get rid of. And, you know, maybe you can kind of get back on your feet that way through way of donations.
That's great advice. Actually, I did that. I was a giver. Like, there was somebody in the crypto space that was there for a long time, and you know, they did well, but I don't know how that, you know, she got bamboozled. And I sent her, and I just felt so bad. I figured if I was in that situation, I'd want someone to help me. And I think she does much better in crypto than I do. But I just, you know, that experience, you feel so alone, you feel so isolated. And so, you know, I sent her an NFT, and I think, I mean, it looks like she's back on her feet. But yeah, I think that's great advice, Jenny. Really, really good advice.
Yeah, turn to the community, and you know, people will be willing to help you out. You know, I think they really would. And you know, especially if you're a bit of a known, you know, person, it's like, okay, you know, you knew that girl, you know, and you'd followed her, and it's like, you wanted to help her out, you felt compelled. Yeah, I think if I ever got, like, you know, if I ever lost all my NFTs, I think I could turn to, you know, my community, and I think people would be nice and try to help me get back on my feet. You know, it's like, obviously it's not ideal. Like, you don't want that to be you don't want to get scammed, but it's like, if you do, you know, the community is really strong in the NFT space, and yeah, people, you know, are willing to help you out. I think you just building those connections ahead of time as well. Like, you know, you don't have to be in this NFT space alone trying to navigate your way. It's actually not fun that way. It's more fun if you know people in the space. And I think that's why I like having like a podcast and things like that. It's like, you can connect with more people, you know, and that's always fun.
And you're such a natural. Like, when I see you on your podcast, like, you just, it's very conversational. You know, you make it feel like you're just talking to your friends and your family, and it's really cool. It's very disarming.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm always like blown away when someone like Usman, this guy Usman, who I've known, he used to be community manager for NBA Top Shot, and it's like, everybody who's been around, who was like around a year ago for Top Shot, like, knows who he is. And he and I guess I had talked about him on my last episode briefly, because he like messaged me and he's like, thank you for the shout out. And I was like, what the, you listen to my podcast? Like, I'm always blown away that people that I know like listen, because I don't really think about the fact that there's people listening. And then it's like, someone's like, oh, thanks for talking about this. And I'm like, oh, you listen to it? Like, thanks.
Yeah,
Like,
you'd be surprised.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's very, very good.
So it's interesting seeing the evolution of kind of NFTs and smart contracts. And it's like an economy where people are just figuring it out as we go, you know, and but utility is kind of the big word now. With it used to be more about just the PFP, right? And now it's people want more, and when they're building communities, they're doing a good job at executing on that. Some of these blue chips. So what, I guess, if you can define like utility, you mentioned, you know, buying something for the community, but what are some more utility that you see?
Yeah. Well, I also kind of say, sometimes I say benefits like as utility, like interchangeable. So it's like, yeah, buying into, for example, non-fungible fungi. I was saying, oh, I really like that project. And it's like, well, what's the utility? And they've already like done some things where it's like, okay, I know that they're credible because it's like they've already done some things. I know their background. That's one of the things I look for, is like the team, you know, who's the team behind a project. That's important to me. Like with Doodles, it's like the guy Poopy who I traded with. He actually used to work, he was like ex product lead at CryptoKitties. So it's like, you know, he has a ton of experience, right? And just betting on the jockey. And so anyway, I was saying the non-fungible fungi, I was saying like, for example, of utility, they're going to be having this whole conjuring thing where it's like, you have 9 different shrooms that are coming into a circle, and people, you know, put their shrooms in the circle, and then you summon a nightshade, which is like an evil mushroom. And it's like just fun things where it's like, ooh, I want to do that, you know? And I mean, there's different things you can do. Some people like games, some people like if there's like merch or maybe there's in real life events. I love in real life events. There's this one NFT I have, Party Degenerates, where it's like, that was literally their main thesis, it being like, you know, this will give you access to all the in real life events that we throw. And Danny Seed Phrase, who has like one of the rarest, he has like the most amount of traits for a punk. I think it's like an 8 trait. I don't know, don't quote me. But and he's like behind that project. And like I've gotten into a couple parties because of that NFT. And it's like, I love that. I love being able to, go to parties in real life, like because I have this NFT. So that's one thing that's really cool for me, like getting access to like exclusive events and things like that. That's one of my favorite utilities, personally.
Cool. All right, let's move into rapid fire questions now, Jenny. Thank you so much. You're hanging in there, and you're doing
rapid
great.
Fire.
Very important. Ready? So you can spend a short amount of time on each one of these questions. You can literally say whatever you want. All right. So rapid fire. So first, if you're about to invest in an NFT project, there's a team that's doxed. There's another one that's not doxed. So what are your thoughts? Doxed versus not doxed?
Doxed, because then you can hold them accountable.
All right. Roadmap, doesn't matter.
Sometimes, if they can execute.
Okay. Flip, I think you already answered this one. Flip versus the buy and hold strategy.
Buy and hold 100%.
All right. Your top 5 NFT projects to buy and hold for the rest of the year.
For the rest of the year? Doodles. Wait.
I should have put a time limit on this. Yeah.
Yeah, what the heck? Are these ones that I own, or are these?
Any, whatever you think the top 5 are. Like if you were going to say, your mom came to you and was like, Jenny, I got a whole bunch of money, but I can only put it in 5 projects. Tell me which ones I should put it in.
Oh God, the pressure.
Doodles. Watch it, so make sure it's honest. Doodles.
Oh yeah, not financial advice. Yeah. Doodles, something in the Bored Ape ecosystem. Maybe a CryptoPunk. Non-fungible fungi.
All right.
And Cool Cats, I guess.
And Cool Cats. All right, cool. And
that was so hard.
I could tell. It was great that you put that much thought into it. You're a very thoughtful person. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna just ball out a word that you've obviously heard of, and you just say one word that describes the way you feel about that.
Oh,
You ready?
yeah.
Metaverse.
Universe.
Okay. Tokens.
Money.
DeFi.
Decentralized finance.
That's cheating.
Wait, that's 2 words.
Donating to charities. NFTs that donate to charities.
Cool.
DAOs.
Decentralized autonomy. Okay, sorry.
Yay or nay?
Community.
Do you like it? Do you like DAOs? Are you fed up with them?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not super involved in DAOs, but I do like the concept a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Godfather, Bitcoin.
Money.
All right. I thought you were gonna be like, no comment.
No, I like Bitcoin.
All right. And what is the future of NFT? What does the future looks like? What does the future look like with NFTs, you know, for all of us, for our kids and our kids' kids? What will NFTs look like for them?
Oh, just one word.
No, sorry. You can explain this. Yeah, sorry.
NFTs. I mean, I think it's just gonna be it's just going to be like owning things digitally. Like, it's just going to make sense. It's like, you know, you're going to be like, wait, there was a time where you played video games and the things that you bought, you didn't actually own them and you couldn't resell them. And if the game disappeared, then you lost them. Like, what the heck? Like, people will be like, what, why did that happen? And they're like, well, you know, I mean, that's just how it was. Yeah, I think it'll just be natural.
Man, that's an interesting concept. That's really interesting. You know, like I grew up. So for example, like let's say Super Mario Brothers, one of the oldest video games, right? You just played it and then you get to the end and it's over. You beat Bowser, you saved the princess. You got nothing, but you just spent so many hours you'll never get back in your lifetime
for fun.
And now they found a way where you can actually reward something with something digital that they own that may have value. Man, that's I like that explanation, Jenny.
Or maybe you beat the game and they're like, here's this award, and it's like an NFT, and it's like, and it's like, you earned this because you beat the game.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's it's going to take it to a whole new level, and then it actually justifies the price that you charge kids for these games, because they can actually win something that will probably pay off the game and then potentially their education. So that's interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Cool concept.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I can't wait for that to be. I mean, there's already some. I play Gods Unchained right now, just kind of like Hearthstone on the blockchain. And it's like, you know, I own my cards that I play with and everything, which is really cool. And then it's like you can accumulate these after you play, you get experience, and then you unlock these packs. And then if you have 2 cards, you can fuse them together and mint them onto the blockchain. So you have to like fuse 2 of like, and then it's like, then you own it, and then you can sell it. And you can buy other people's cards, and it's cool. Like, it's like, I mean, it's just the beginning, and that's just the beginning of things. But I can't wait for other, you know, more popular games like Fortnite to integrate NFTs. And they don't even have to call it that, you know. I think, especially if NFTs have a negative connotation right now with like the gaming community, they don't have to say, they'll just say, oh, you just will digitally own this. And then it's like, oh, great, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Digital ownership.
The other thing I really love about NFTs, I've never seen it in my entire life, the way that it builds community. Like, there's no more borders. Like, I'm Canadian. I live in Toronto, Canada, you know, but if you own, you know, so I'm a huge fan of on-chain monkeys. And so I own on-chain monkey, and somebody else owns, I don't care where they live in the world. They're like part of my family now, you know, the same way as you feel about doodles and everything else. And I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. That's so quick, where you feel part of a community. You can jump into Discord, you can jump on Twitter, you can communicate with them right away. And at any time of day, especially like on Discord, it's like 24/7. If I can't get sleep, I'll jump on Discord. There's about 1,000 other people that can't get sleep apparently, or in a part of the world. But I just love the fact that you can build community. And then within the community, you know, like you said, like you can reach out to people and they can potentially help you in a way that's completely unrelated to that NFT, but because you hold it, you know, their expertise or their profession may essentially change your life depending, so
I like that. Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's
Like,
oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like 10 years ago, I read this futurist. I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Ray Kurzweil. But anyways, he's talking about how everybody's going to have. There's going to be a currency for everything, like different currency for art, different currency for, whatever you're buying, whether it's a service or. And I think that's kind of the direction it's going. There's going to be health and education NFTs. There's going to be insurance, and there's going to be, so I think it's definitely not going away anytime soon. It's definitely a burgeoning, economy.
Here's my can you see my
Oh,
on-chain right
on-chain
there?
monkey, let's go. Ooh, that was dope.
Have you
Oh, it's
picked it
got
up
one
yet?
earring. Too
Yeah.
cool.
Have you picked up the on-chain yet or not yet?
I don't have an on-chain monkey. I have an Avastar, I guess, which is similar because it's like, fully on-chain generative avatar
Yeah.
project. I don't have an on-chain monkey though.
All right, we gotta get you into the community somehow. We're gonna find a way.
I'll look into them after this. I'll see.
You've been awesome, by the way, Jen. Your energy is amazing. Your answers are thoughtful.
Oh,
It's
thank you.
been really, really cool. All right, so something separate from NFTs. So the most unproductive, mindless activity that you actually don't mind spending time on. What's that?
That I can say.
That you can say, yeah.
I love going for long walks, and sometimes I'll be in my head too. I'm an ambivert. So it's like, sometimes I'll just tap into my introvert and I'm like, I'm not even looking around. I'm just like in my head, walking around the city, I just love walking. Yeah.
That's really cool.
You're the one I see walking around all the time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like, who's that girl walking around everywhere? Oh.
I'm just kidding.
And if you can give our audience one action that takes like 2 minutes, or you might just say go for a walk, but that takes 2 minutes that could improve their life journey, what would that be?
Wow, that can improve their life journey. That's interesting.
It could have been just go for a walk. Like I'm going to go for a walk because of what you just said today.
Honestly, yeah, like getting sunshine and like being out in nature is so underrated, especially since we're always looking at the screen. And it's kind of like, I've been really thinking about that lately. Just the fact that I'm constantly looking at an electronic device. It's like I'm on my laptop right now. I'm obviously looking at you guys, but it's like still, I'm on my laptop, or I'm on my phone, and it's like, just being without electronics can be so freeing sometimes, and just feel like it's so underrated, especially people that are, super into the NFT space. It's like, we're always online, we're always on, because it's like you blink and you can miss something. And it's just like, but it's nice to be able to just take time to just enjoy and appreciate things and appreciate nature.
Yeah. So true.
We
just want to remind everybody that if they want more Jenny from the blockchain, they should follow her on Twitter at Jenny_Sutto. Jenny, we always finish the Jenny or Jennifer. What do you prefer?
Well, my username on Twitter is Jennifer_Sutto, but I like to go by Jenny from the blockchain. I think it's cool. And then, only NFT people call me Jenny, so it's just kind of fun to me. Okay. But people call me Jennifer in real life. So. Okay. All right. But yeah, whichever one.
So we always end the podcast with 2 famous quotes, or 2 quotes that hopefully can kind of inspire. So I have 2 here today that I want to share. So the one is that's very timely because of where we're at with respect to crypto and NFTs. So when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I feel for all those people who look at crypto and look at NFT and they have a bias before really understanding it, you already know what your conclusion is going to be. But if you just change the way you look at it, perhaps that thing will change, and so too will your opinion of those things. So it's the first one.
Wow, I love that.
Second one is for you, Jenny. This one is, one's success is only relevant when measured against one's potential. And I thought about you when I read that and I think about this even more now, because when I see you I on Twitter and on social media and your podcast, you could tell you got a world of potential, and you've had success, right? You got a ton of followers, you got a great podcast, you have a great way about you. And then after doing this podcast with you, your potential to me is even more immense. Like I can only imagine where it's going to be. VCon is going to be insane for you. I think like just for people to see you in person and feel your energy, I think is going to be great. So just keep that in mind, because for someone who has so much potential, you have to make sure that someone doesn't ever just like put a ceiling above you and be like, okay, well, you've done so great. No, your potential is incredible. And I just hope that you reach the highest heights for all the things that you wish to achieve.
Thank you. That is so nice. And, honestly, people's encouragement, like, I feel like you'd be surprised how much you can accomplish with just a little encouragement. And, other people rooting for me, that would always encourages me to like do more and like, okay, well, what more can I do? How higher can I go?
Yeah.
And it's like, so I feel very inspired by other people, like, just being so kind and like so like nice, like that just really inspires me a lot. So thank you for your guys' kindness.
Yeah,
and
we're excited to see what you do, and we'll be following along. And we're just so grateful that you took the time to come out and chat with us today, and we were able to keep it under an hour for once. How shocking is that?
That's impressive. Amazing. Yeah, we tend to ramble on. Thanks.
Nice.
So all right, so we'll end it there. But thank you again, Jenny, for joining us. And hopefully we get to do it again. Either you come over here and we'll come over, or we can come over to your show, but we'd love to chat with you again.
Yeah. I like to do collab episodes sometimes, like for our pod. I think it's kind of cool to collaborate with other podcasters. But yeah, and your guys' journey, like, you guys are all enveloped in the Web3 space and everything. And I'm excited for you guys and see what you guys do.
Thanks so much, Jenny. Enjoy the rest of the day. Take care.
Peace.